Well, I believe that the official story is a conspiracy theory that doesn't stand up to scientific scrutiny.
Are you serious?
It needs to be
Is this a hoax, or are you serious?
No, and I'd love to debate you on it publicly, John, if you'd like. And if you think it's ridiculous,
there's nothing to debate,
challenge it to a public to debate.
There's nothing to debate.
The fact is that aviation fuel doesn't get hot enough to melt steel, and no high-rise steel frame building before or after September 11 has ever collapsed.
So,
into fire.
Kevin, which version of the conspiracy theories do you subscribe to for the alternative?
Well,
are you saying that the Israelis engineered it, or do you believe that there's the Bilderberg group, or which version of the nutter conspiracies is the one you subscribe to?
No, I stick to scientific facts.
Yeah, go on, but which one?
And the facts are that aviation fuel doesn't get hot enough to melt steel.
So what did happen that day? In your mind, what did happen on that day?
In my mind, the buildings were imploded.
Brian Boyd is the Secretary of the Victorian Trades Hall Council. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Does Kevin Bracken speak on behalf of the trade union movement?
No, Kevin's the Secretary of the MUA, and he's welcome to his views, and we've discussed a lot of his theories about those tragic events that happened back on September 11th, 2001 in America. But the official trade hall position is not to entertain that conspiracy theory. We had nearly 3,000 working people killed by that terrorist attack, and we condemned the terrorist attack at the time, and we still do, and that's our position.
He invoked the name of the Trades Hall and his position on your, I think, executive, is that right?
Kevin's our president at the moment, as Secretary of the MUA.
Are you comfortable having a president of the Victorian Trades Hall who has extremist views that are, personally, I find offensive and alarming, but are just generally wacky?
Well, I totally disagree with his conspiracy theory, but look, can I tell you, but putting that one aside, 99% of the time, Kevin's a very good trades hall official in terms of the president, because we look after a lot of issues.
You don't doubt his profession. You don't doubt his judgment and credibility after that?
No, we've had big debates with Kevin about this. This is his personal view on this particular issue.
He's wrong.
He's welcome to them, but he's
no, he's
wrong.
not. He's not welcome to views that are so wrong on such an important issue.
Well,
and as president, it reflects poorly on Trades Hall that he's your president.
Well, that's why I'm ringing, John. He can't express him as president of Trades Hall because
he did.
It is not endorsed. I understand that. That's why I'm ringing you, John.
And to my absolute astonishment, Kevin Bracken has called in again this morning demanding a right of reply. Good morning to you, Kevin Bracken.
G'day, John. And first of all, I just want to thank you for inviting me on the show yesterday.
I took you as a talkback caller, but let's just...
No, I sent you an email on a press release, and you invited me to ring up. You provided the phone number and the time, and that's what I did. I replied.
Yeah, Kevin, that's a standard response. That's a standard response saying whether you're calling in about bushfires or you're calling in about traffic cameras or you're calling in about what you called in about. The standard response is feel free to raise it on talkback, and that's just a courtesy. But either way, I yesterday was dismissive of you, and I noticed that it, in fact, took on a bit of a life of its own yesterday. I don't for a moment want to revisit the issues. On the other hand, if I don't talk to you this morning, you'll say I'm censoring your rights of free speech, won't you?
No, I'm just very grateful that you did it, and you allowed this to be aired on the news in this country, because it's been ignored. And the trouble is, people like yourself set the agenda for politicians, and they all fall into line. So, but I'm just ringing today, not as the Victorian Trades Hall Council president or the Secretary of the Maritime Union of Australia, but as Kevin Bracken myself, and I just want to state the official theory as to what happened on September 11th doesn't stand up to scientific scrutiny. That's a fact.
This was raised, Kevin, this is what happened at question time yesterday in Federal Parliament. The first question raised by the opposition to the Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, in question time in Parliament yesterday was this.
My question is to the Prime Minister. I refer to the comments of Kevin Bracken, President of the Victorian Trades Hall Council and member of the Port Melbourne branch of the Labor Party.
Josh Frydenberg,
in relation
Liberal Victoria.
to the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Centre on September the 11th, 2001, and I quote, "I believe the official story is a conspiracy theory that doesn't stand up to scientific scrutiny." If the Prime Minister finds these comments as offensive as most right-thinking Australians, what action will the Prime Minister take to discipline Mr Bracken and send a message to others that such remarks are unacceptable?
Order. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, and I thank the member for what I understand to be his first question and congratulate him for his election to this place. On his question, obviously I don't agree with the remarks. Obviously they are stupid and wrong. I think the member was in the House yesterday when I gave my Prime Minister's statement on Afghanistan. I would refer him to that. That is my view, obviously. It is the view of the Labor Party. If the member wants to research our policy that goes through our national conferences and other places, then he will find that outlined our view about the conflict in Afghanistan and why Australia is
and
there.
On it went in Parliament yesterday. In fact, it ended up in uproar. Kevin Bracken, the Prime Minister says you're wrong and stupid, but you, again today, want to put your head up for people to whack you around the ears, do you?
Yeah, because for too long, people like yourself have stifled public debate in this country. And I thank you for letting me air it yesterday, and I stand by what I said. The official story does not stand up to scientific scrutiny, and I'm be only too happy to debate you on it. And if it's so ridiculous, why don't you debate me on it, John?
Because it's so ridiculous. You just explained it yourself. You know, your remarks have been reported in the Daily Telegraph, online around the world. There's been vigorous commentary and polling, and you have completely covered yourself in ridicule. And by calling in again today, you'll do the same.
I notice the polling's about 50-50, so maybe not, mate. It's about 50% support for what I said, okay?
I make it absolutely clear to listeners, I have not sought you out today, Kevin Bracken. You have yet again popped your head up and said, I'm pleased with all of this. Let's make that absolutely clear.
Yep, I am. And that's what, as I said, unions they debate ideas. They don't dictate to their members. They actually throw around ideas. They're debated, and there's resolutions made according to them.
And the fact that from the Prime Minister to the opposition leader to your colleagues in the trade union movement, everybody in any serious position in public life has run a million miles from you and described you in most uncomplimentary terms. Because, John, unfortunately, cowards like yourself have set the political agenda in this country for too long. All right? You attacked me yesterday when I was off the air without a right of reply, and I ask you again to debate me on it. No, I won't. So who was behind? What I did ask you, and you didn't say yesterday, your conspiracy theory. Which version of it do you subscribe to, just so that we're clear? I don't know who was responsible for it. You sure? I know that it's scientifically proven that the official story is impossible to have happened. Well, I'm not going to go through it all again. Kevin, I'm astonished that you have raised your head. See you on Sunday. Look forward to it. So Sterling Moss. Welcome to the Friday Wrap. It's a bit chaotic today. We've got Di Fingleton, Bill McInnes, a cast of thousands. It's been an extraordinary week, of course, too. I don't want to talk about 9/11 conspiracy theorists and the like. Well, I kind of do, but I don't. I don't want to start it up again. We are clearly being targeted now after what happened on Wednesday when Kevin Bracken from the Maritime Union and the President of Trades Hall chose to call in. We didn't call him, he called us and said you can't have a parliamentary debate about Afghanistan unless you also are prepared to talk about what really happened and the truth about what happened at the World Trade Center in New York on 9/11. And off it went. And now, just here it's Friday, I have had, well, probably countless emails, text messages, phone calls. We are clearly being targeted now by all the people who think that there is more to it than we've ever been told, and the media are part of the conspiracy. And having got just a little crack in the door open, we're getting phone calls from all around Australia, we're getting emails from around the world. People are saying, here is a point where we can have our claims fully explored. It's been a very intense week because of that. On the other hand, I suppose I've stuck my neck out a bit. I called them loonies. I had a go and said, look, I think this is corrosive of people's confidence and trust in the rule of law and democracy. I still believe that. I don't resile for a moment from anything that I said, but in the background you can see there's John Standish, one of my producers, dealing with all the complaints of people saying that we're arrogant, we're high-handed and we're dismissive, and that's not our role here at the ABC, and that will take weeks for us to deal with. Such is life. Thank you for joining us this week on the morning program on 774 ABC Melbourne.